Everybody, it's Annette from the Art of Intuition, and today we are going to talk about reality purification and what exactly does that look like, and when have we gotten there? What starts happening to your realities? And that's a big one we go through. We can talk about ascended realities and soul aligned realities a zillion times, and we do on this channel. Sometimes I feel like a lot of the stuff gets repetitive, but I know when I was listening to different content, it had to be repeated because it has to really kind of get in there, get in that consciousness and work around. And because we're all in different places and different times, and then we listen to something, but we're maybe not quite there yet, or we're at a different consciousness when we listen to it, we don't quite have the same effects as when we listen to it later. That's why any type of higher consciousness content, you'll find the more you listen to it, you get something new out of it. It's not the same anymore. Every time you listen, you're like, oh, that's different. Oh, I feel that's hitting me different. I get it now, right? So reality purification is one of them that you might have heard, whether you heard it called that or not, but talking about soul aligned realities, and I know we talk about it, but until you start getting to these places, it activates the consciousness of understanding it, but you haven't embodied it enough for it to start to happen. That's when we talk about embodiment, what embodiment means. It starts to happen. All of a sudden, these things that we conceptually talk about starts to happen and starts to create in your own world. It starts to materialize in your own world. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I remember something about that. And that's because you activated the consciousness with the first time you listened to something that talked about it, right? Doesn't matter where. And then now all of a sudden, maybe years later, you're starting to see it happen. And we get tripped up by a lot of these kind of reality alignments because we don't understand that's what's happening. We don't see the signs. They're not the way we wanted them to align from a human consciousness. So we don't understand why everything we worked for all of a sudden isn't working, right? This is not what I thought it was going to be. This is not how I thought this is going to turn out. This is turning out a lot differently because it is different. It's not what we thought it was going to be. It's aligned on a soul level, not on a human level. They're no longer self-serving realities. And that's when you know you're starting to get into higher line realities because they're not realities that just serve you. They're realities that are created to serve the collectives. They're created to serve others, not you. Our human realities were to serve us. And no matter how many times you want to go through the one reality where, and I did the same thing. So we don't judge when we talk about it because we all did the same thing. But we can say, oh no, that was for somebody else. Nothing your human creates is for somebody else. You can maybe try to spin it, but you're still in a deep sacrificial, like you're going too far the other way. You're sacrificing yourself to help other people, but that's still a lack program, which still pins it on the human consciousness because you're still trying to have a self-worth out of it. Even if you feel like, no, I'm sacrificing so much for someone else. These are not sacrificial realities. They're realities where you will be taken care of. I promise you will be taken care of. So you can serve others. And that's what reality purification is. And that's what happens when you start getting into reality purification. It's not about you. It's not about what you want anymore. It's about what you're going to do to serve other people and what you're going to be able to do to serve other people. So when we get to trying to identify these and starting to really come to how come all of these things I wanted didn't come true and I'm getting this reality. And I really wanted to try to I wanted this one to come true. And we get into whole, why aren't our human wishes coming true? How come I asked for this and I didn't get it? I'm going to roll abundance energy in here because this is where you see, and I fell into this too, where you start to really call a lot of stuff forth because that's what we have been learned that the metaphysical can help our human realities, right? We talk a lot about how it's kind of been bastardized where people start taking all the metaphysical stuff. We did it. I did it to enhance your human reality, right? You get into the books, The Secrets, you get into Abraham Hicks, you get into all these things regarding, how can it be how can I bring all this stuff in to enhance my life, my human life? You know, I'm not wanting to rebuild anything. I just want my human life to be richer. I want to be in amazing health. I want I want all the money in the world. I want to be young forever, whatever it is. I want this particular person. I want to be really, I want to look like I'm supposed to look on all the magazines. It doesn't matter. It's whatever your version of the optimal human reality is. And unlike our higher line realities, most people have a pretty good idea of what their most abundant human reality would be. Whereas when we get into higher line realities, it's funny how you would think, okay, they're all the same, and at the core they're all the same. At the core they're all the same. We want to serve humanity. We want to serve the collective. We want to serve others in a sense of bringing them through, right? Or helping them, assisting them, opening the door so other people can walk through it. We don't drag people through the door, because we do that for a while in our ascension process. We're trying to drag all these people with us, then we just realize, they don't want to go. They're swatting us away. They don't want to go, and we're still trying to drag everybody through with us. And then that's a hard one for us, when we realize, oh, okay, they don't want to go. This is just me that wants them to go. So as we kind of pop through these realities and we start to understand that my human dreams are not my highest aligned dreams. So we start trying to call forth a lot of this stuff to make our human realities what we want them to be. And in the beginning, you'll see some leeway in that. And we've talked a little bit about this kind of low-hanging fruit, right? In the beginning, we're like, oh, wait, I see how I wanted this person to call me, and they called me. And I did I was playing with telepathy, and I was playing with stones and crystals, and all of a sudden I felt better. Because your body is raising in frequency. It's starting to see things that aren't there. There's a purpose to it. It's to kind of lure you in, but it's also raising your vibration by getting involved with all these energetic metaphysical concepts, right? You're reading the content, you're listening to the videos, but it's trying to pull you out, right? So in the beginning it works to kind of, what is that old, it's one of those old sales tricks, right? The first one's free, but after that we're going to charge. It's the same kind of thing. The first couple things that happen, they seem to happen easy, right? And then you're like, wow, there's something to this. I want to go more. I want to go deeper. I want to have more, but it's still there's still a human agenda to it. So it's not pure, but it's still pulling us out, right? So we kind of dive deeper in, and then we start to we get into the whole manifestation and, oh, I want this, I want that. I'm going to put all my thought toward this. And like I say, for a while it works. It's aligned with something, it's aligned with the frequency we're giving off. Is it the highest aligned? No, not in those frequencies, because we're still doing it for a self-serving reason. It's not highest aligned, but it is highest aligned towards something. It might be the highest aligned thing we can get in that moment, because it's going to lead us to something else. Highest aligned doesn't mean soul aligned, okay? Highest aligned means, in that moment, this is the highest line reality I can get that's going to help me clear something else and get me to the next stage in my process. It might be an amazing flow you're going in when you're in that reality, in that timeline, in that frequency. It might be kind of a rough frequency, and you're like, how can this be highest aligned? Because in that moment it is. It doesn't mean it's going to be the funnest ride you're going to have, because it's probably going to, usually in the beginning, and I say the beginning, it can be the first 5 to 7 years, it's to clear programming. Especially the first, 3 or 4 years, you do a lot of program clearing, get to the really ugly stuff you're trying to clear, and that human consciousness in our cellular memory. So, we have this thing where this is not what I thought it was going to be. How come highest aligned is not soul aligned? And in a way, technically, even human realities are soul aligned in a way, because they're helping your soul get to helping your human clear so your soul can embody in more, right? So we have this thing where it's highest line, but it's still not what I thought it would be. Now, when we get to highest line, and how come I'm trying to now call for something, right? I want to live in this house, or I want to be able to, or if I live with a group of people and I'm contributing, housework, and I'm not contributing money, but I want to contribute money, so I want money to come in. and I'm going to call forth money. All this stuff we kind of will learn to do, you know, and we're like, okay, wait a minute, how come it's not working? If it's not highest aligned, none of this stuff's going to work. You know, it's not going to work because it's trying to show you something else. If we always have money, we never explore what else we have to offer, right? If we always want to give money, you never get into your deep seated programming because you try to buy your way out of it. You try to buy your way out of dealing with things. You know, I see so many people doing that where they don't want to deal with it, so they're just going to pay someone else to deal with it. Oh, I did this, but I'm going to pay a lawyer to deal with this, or I'm going to hire someone else to do this. Every time we do that, we're missing the lesson in a sense, right? So we're just keying up. It's kind of like we're pulling that rubber band, totter and totter, and when it does finally give way, we're going to get slapped so hard with it because we're not allowing anything to organically happen to show us what we need to clear, to show us what's going on. We keep trying to buy our way out of it. That's why the money will get taken away, because we have to learn, A, we have more to give than that, and B, you know, we have to clear, and we can't clear if we keep trying to avoid. Humans use money to avoid. Okay, it uses money to avoid what's going on, and it's been done since the beginning of time, right? Avoid, 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 avoid. I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to pay someone else to deal with it. But after a while, you start to see people who, when we did it, you know, you start to see, oh, I used to do that, and it's not going to lead anywhere good. And you see other people doing it, and you're like, it's not going to lead anywhere good, because eventually, you know, you have to pay your own bill. You know, you can't keep allowing others to do the dirty work, in a sense, what you don't want to deal with. You don't want to be accountable for what you created. You're going to have someone else come in and clean it up. That's why we have lawyers in Human Realities, you know, so much to clean up things that we just don't want to deal with on our own. Even though it's our actions, I'm going to have someone else come in and deal with it because I don't want to. Or someone else's actions, and we don't want to confront that person, and we don't want to deal with it head on. So one key thing to remember is when you're going through realities collapsing and you're creating new ones, and new ones are starting to come in and they don't look the way you want them to, you're calling for stuff and, you know, you're not getting it. I think I did a video on why is my wish not coming true, or something like that. Maybe I didn't, I wanted to. So if I didn't and I wanted to, I guess this is that video. You know, if your wish is not highest aligned, it's not going to happen. And that's what we start to get to when you get into ascension and you get deep into ascension. It doesn't matter if you are, and then we get that thing, well, I'm doing it wrong. How come I'm trying to call in all this stuff and it's not coming in? It's not highest line. If it's not highest line for you to stay in a situation, you won't have the money to fund it. If it's not highest line for you to stay at a job, you're not going to keep the job. If it's not highest line for you to have, you know, a car in that moment, you're not going to have the money to get one. And that is the stuff we have to grapple with when we get into these realities, because it's not what our human wants. It's not our human luxury realities we thought we were going to have. But you will find you will change on that. You will change on what you're trying to build. As you clear the human programming, you will notice what you really feel and want in a reality. They're not the same. These aren't the same things you wanted 2 or 3 years ago. That's why a lot of these things don't come to fruition, because it's a waste of time. You're not going to really be interested in them that long anymore. That person you think you want so bad, you know, you might say, gee, in 3 or 4 years, I have no interest in that anymore. I have no interest in that person anymore. I have no interest in that person maybe 3 weeks later. You know, I'm so glad that didn't happen. You know, what's that old adage? You were dodging bullets. You know, I dodged a bullet on that one because I really thought I wanted it. And whew, I'm glad I didn't get it, because that would have been just a hell reality to trudge my ass through and then try to close it out when it was something, you know, sometimes we want stuff so bad that when you get it, it's that old adage, be careful what you wish for, right? You want it so bad and your universe will bring it in, but it brings it in a different frequency. It's showing you it's not aligned. You know, there's so many twists and turns. You know, this is the best thriller you're ever gonna read, you're ever gonna be part of, right? This is because there's so many twists and turns in Ascension. There's so many ways when you think this is my highest line reality. Oh no, wait a minute. There's another one over there that's higher line. Forget about this one. This is, put the brakes on it. That's why for a lot of Ascension, we don't have people in our realities, because we'd be impacting too many people, you know, when we change our minds, because you know, maybe change of heart's a better way to say it. we get to a different consciousness. All of a sudden, what I thought was highest line, that's not highest line anymore. I'm going, I got to go this way now. I can't go that way anymore. But we have a lot of people that we are kind of bringing into that. Then they get whiplash, because if they're in their human consciousness, they don't understand why we keep, are we wishy-washy? Why do we keep flipping around on what we thought we were supposed to get, or we thought what we wanted? Normally, the realities we have to do are the ones you're not going to want to go do, because they're going to make you clear the most. And when you see people avoiding these realities, you also know, and look how long we avoided some of those realities. Avoid them, because we don't want to be part of those. We don't want to be part of the ones that are going to bring up our stuff. But those are the ones you're going to be pushed down those roads. Those are going to be the ones you have to go down. Those are going to be the ones that you gain so much of yourself going down the roads, because you clear so much of the stuff that's not you. You're not bound by that stuff anymore. You're not, and you start to realize that ascended realities are freedom from all that garbage. They're freedom, and the money does come in. And I never want to paint it like you'll have it when you need it. You'll have it when it's aligned. But if you're really calling something forth and you're not getting it, you're not getting it. We really have to start looking. Is it highest align? Is this really highest align? What I'm trying to fund, because the other trick to calling in money is you identify what do you want to spend it on. And if you say that to your universe, bring me this money and I will do this thing, right? But in ascended realities, if you say, bring me this money and I will do this thing, when you get that money, you better do that thing. Or you might be shown how to get the money. You might say, gee, I really feel like I want to travel to, Egypt. And you might see, okay, sell your car. And you'll be like, well, I don't want to sell my car. Okay. But that's what we're telling you to do. And by we, I say that's what your universe is telling you to do. Sell your car, go to Egypt. That's how you fund that. That money from your car is designated for you to go to Egypt. Do you want to go or not? You can go try to get it a different way, but that's the quickest way. There's been a couple things I've like, oh, bring me money for this. And then I'll see, okay, you gotta sell that if you want to do that. That money from that is going to go to this. That meant when I did sell it, I had to use the money for that. I mean, I didn't have to, but if I didn't, then I was going to be in big trouble with my universe, because I made a promise. You're making soul promises on that if you bring me this, I will do this. If you bring me this, I will do this. And everything you're doing, you start to see it starts to shift. Yes, you're being supported. Yes, you have everything that you require, and this peace and joy, and things are brighter and things are clearer, and you can read your field, and there's so many things. I can't even put it into words when you start living in these realities, how amazing they are. You also start to understand that these are promises I made. These are not empty promises we made as humans, right? Like when things got bad, I'm going to pray. I see so many people say that I'm not religious, but I'm going through this really rough time, or someone else going through this really rough time, so let's try to pray. But I don't really believe in it. In other words, it's like, bring me this, or all the promises you make when things are really rough in our human realities. Bring me money, get me out of this, and I won't do it again. And then we do the same damn thing again. That's why after a while, we don't get the rope anymore. Our universe won't even throw us a dental floss down. It's like, you screwed me too many times. You can't be trusted. That's why we don't get a lot until we prove out time after time after time we can be trusted. We start getting into realities that you're going to notice they're serving other people more in the sense than they're serving. They're not self-serving anymore. Yes, you're taken care of. Yes, you have filled up your cup with light, in a sense. You filled up your soul cup enough where you can now get into realities that help others. But that's what you want to do every day. You want to help the collectives. You want to do something for other people, whether it's getting online and doing videos, or just going out every day and just putting as much out of light in the world as you can. It doesn't mean we're pushovers. I always had that. It always reminds me of that True Blood character that I think she was a vampire. I think her name was Pam. And she said, people think I'm a pushover because I wear a lot of pink, but she was kind of this vicious vampire, right? And they misinterpret me because I wear pink and I have pumps on or whatever. But in a funny way, it's kind of like that. Just because you are living and choosing realities to serve the collectives, it doesn't mean we are taking disrespect. It doesn't mean we put up with anything, in a sense. It's not highly respectful communication and a consciousness that's aligned with where we're going or where we're at or where we want to be. We just don't do it. It's no point to it. It's a waste of time. That doesn't mean you won't have people come in and out. I say this all the time. If you come in and out of my life every 6 months, or it's an interaction I have, on a blue moon, I don't give a shit what decisions you make. I don't give a shit what consciousness you're in. I'll be there to support when I can, but your day-to-day stuff, it's not my business. My video got cut off. So, not sure why. I'm not sure where it even left off. So I'm going to just, maybe that's my sign to wrap this one up. I don't know where I ended, but I'll just splice this together. Someone who's in your world, their consciousness does start to matter because it will affect yours. So when you're looking at why am I not getting it the way I want it? Why is my universe really not trusting me? You're not doing it wrong. There's so many tests and trials to ascension to prove you can be trusted. And you're not going to have the money. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember, you're not going to have the money, the energy, energy is money, energy is time. You're not going to have any of that, any energy to do anything. That is not highest aligned. If it's not going to lead you down the path for your next ascension timeline, you're not going to get it. So don't beat yourself up about it not coming. So that's a question you have to start asking yourself. Is this just not highest aligned? Am I not supposed to stay here? And there's so many things I've tried to fund. And sometimes you can backdoor fund things for a while, which I had done before, knowing it had to end at some point because I knew it wasn't aligned deep down. I just didn't want to go and do the next thing. I was afraid of what the next thing was going to be. And I didn't want to close the door on something, even though I could see all the flaws in it. I could see all the imbalances in it. I could see where it wasn't going to work long term. The respect was not there. We can get so attached to these realities. We'll huddle in a corner and because we're so afraid of the next one or where that might lead us, and we don't really want to go deal with some of our deeper stuff where we know we're headed to, because we can feel it in there. We can feel that it blocks us in a sense to where we need to go. It's keeping our vibration too low. We need to be able to go into the next thing. So, all right, I'm going to end it there. I know that was a long one. All right, keep practicing the art of intuition.